If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. First, it's free. Second, there's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. 3, Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. 4, you can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. 5, it's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So, sign up to Anchor today. Greetings, ancestors. Welcome to another episode of the Adventures of Coyote Prophet. I'm your host, Coyote Prophet, and this is an adventure that's not an adventure. It's not something that I enjoy. And at this point, I don't even feel it's necessary. But it's, what it is. I'm going to talk about this whole concept of, let me wind it back a little bit. We are bombarded with so many bullshit fallacies about ourselves, the world, the universe, our connection and relation to other people, that it just has everyone, or most people I should say, in such a fucking tizzy. And then I also think that as men and women, we are also bombarded with the devaluation of our own potential selves and what we should be actively engaged in terms of bettering ourselves and being the people that should be the pillars of society. We should be the role models to children and also to anyone actually of any age. But let me go back. So I recently had an experience, I'm going to work my way backwards. So for those of you who don't know, I do tarot readings. And so one of the things about it is I am not the type of person who can read myself. When it comes to reading myself in my own situation, it's just a hot mess. It's never clear. It's always convoluted. So I always, and I don't necessarily get read by tarot by anyone else, except for my good friend, Kimberly Fraizer, who also has a podcast on YouTube, and you should check her out. It's A Quiet Storm, great podcast. But anyway, she does, and she read me. And she was spot on accurate. Now, less than 24 hours after her reading me, I stumbled, quote unquote, upon a video by another tarot reader who's in England. And the uncanny, unbelievable synchronicities between Kimberly's reading and this young lady's reading, whose name leaves me right now, so I apologize, was just like, wow, this is crazy, And although I feel that they were spot on, and I feel that it was very powerful and very factual, I just have to put my foot down at a certain point and say no more. So let me get into it. The reading basically, I was asking about a situation that has been happening with me. Let me just start off by saying, again, I realize that, and this is not based upon denial of myself. This was based upon a false definition of what a certain thing is or what a certain person is. So I've always considered myself a sensitive. I've never considered myself an empath. And the last week or so, or 2 weeks, I realized that I am indeed an empath. As I said, it was based upon not on denial that it wasn't like, oh, I'm not an empath, I just can't be an empath. It was just based upon a definition. My definition of an empath was A, B, and C. I thought I was just A, so therefore I didn't classify myself as an empath. But the fact of the matter is that I am. So out of the situation, this is a good thing. I realized and clarified that I am indeed an empath, and that's fine and dandy. And with that, I had been experiencing a bombardment of energies, particularly connected to a certain person who I was engaged with. And I felt a number of things that was going on. I was feeling that, let me go from beginning to end on what I started to feel. I felt that there was a negative influence that did not care for me at all and wanted me out of the picture. I felt that the negative influence wanted to get their claws into said person. Felt that I was a threat. I felt that this person was threatened by said energies that really want to be vampires and suck that energy out of them. And in the process, I felt that person cowed down to fear. They cowed down to cowardice, and basically for no reason completely shut me out, as if I was the enemy. And so back to the reading. The reading basically stated from both Kimberly and the other young lady that said person is a twin flame. Now, twin flame soulmates, I generally personally have never really used those terms in terms of my thoughts and feelings on the whole concept. Whatever. It may, some folks feel that way, and some people actually do have such a wonderful, deep connection, and they honor that, and they support it, and they build upon that, and that's wonderful. Whether they call it twin flames or soulmates, that's on them. It's not a big issue with me. People can call things whatever they want to call, whatever. If you have a connection with somebody and you honor that and you respect that on whatever level it is, then I say more power to you. However, it has been my experience repeatedly. And I know for a fact, this is not a thing where it's just constantly about, oh, well, I'm attracting this because I'm lacking that and all that other bullshit. Those things have their place in certain times, but we live right now in a society that generates and manufactures cowards and simps and idiots and fools and dumbasses, and the list goes on. It's everything antithetical, I can't even say the word, anti-typical or whatever the word is, to who and what we really should be as human beings. And so I find that a lot of people see me as a threat on so many different levels. And, hey, that's fine. You see me as a threat. Fuck you, you little coward. So I don't look at this as a situation where I am just this failed person attracting or not so complete person attracting this and that. Because if you are in a barrel of rotten apples, you just gotta get your ass out of that barrel of rotten apples. And so seclusion, elimination, all of that stuff is important. Now, getting back to the reading, this person was read as a twin flame, that they were terrified and scared of what they were feeling, what they had realized in accordance to me. So, and so I, believe this because everything basically points to this reading by Kimberly as being very accurate and just on point. And the other young lady basically mirrored the same thing that she said and gave more. That is, being fearful. I shouldn't take it personal, et cetera, et cetera. But the fact of the matter is I do take it personal because this is the thing that gets me. And I have realized this, and this was a revelation, but not a revelation, that when it comes to me and when it comes to people who may be in the throes of fear and uncertainty about their feelings about me and my place in their world, et cetera, there never has been, and I believe never will be, any person who would be strong enough to be able to come to me and say, hey, I made a mistake and I'm sorry. Hey, I didn't mean to create a division or push you away and I'm sorry. Never has happened and never will happen. And I'm not saying that as a way of creating a negative outcome. I'm just stating a fact. If I am in a situation or if I am in a society where that type of cowardice is promoted, where you cannot and do not and will not basically face yourself, because that's basically what it is. It's not about doing something for me. It's basically facing yourself. Then what's the point? It's just like, why do you breathe? So it's really crazy because I realize that there is a pattern. And not so much just in my own personal life. When I sat down and thought about other people who I've come across and so on and so forth, where the same thing, it's like, what in the fuck is going on? People who actually have connections, and these people actually fuck it up. I mean, just fuck it up. And let me explain something else too. I may be kind of like, when it comes to twin flames and soulmates. But I've never really felt or believed that twin flames and soulmates are just a romantic type of situation. It doesn't, just because you say, hey, I have a connection with you and I feel you're my twin flame, it doesn't mean that we're going to go off and fuck for the next 24 hours, 48 hours, 7 days, and we're going to be madly in love and inseparable. That's not my concept. My concept is that there's a connection, there's a bond between me and you, whoever that other person is. And you honor that, and you respect that, and you help that to grow, and you help, obviously, in the long run, yourself and the other to grow to whatever potentials they need to grow to do the work they need to do on this plane. Plain and simple. That's just what I felt and always believed. So if situations, for me, and I mean, this is going to sound really kind of ego-driven, but, I'm just more evolved on certain levels than most people. And especially when it comes to self-evaluation, dealing with my own emotions, because I've done the work. And that's the thing. Most people don't do the work. They don't do the inner work that is necessary for them to be able to grapple with and accept their own emotions, their own thoughts, their own feelings. When they come across somebody like me, and I'm very open, I'm very direct at times. I'm not abrasive, although I'm a Sagittarius, I am not abrasive to the point where I just come out and say things and that may ruffle some people's feathers or may send them down the wrong road. I am very conscientious about the things that I say to people. I read the energy. I'm very gentle when I understand that some people may need things dished out to them by teaspoons instead of, big giant 16 ounce, big drinks. It's like, I understand that there's a way to disseminate information and share things. But at the same time, I, am not gonna hold back on things that I feel that need to be said. Now, in terms of this particular person, there were some things that I did say to them. But I know for a fact that when I did say those things, I said those things that were not in a way that should have been taken at all because of the tone, the wordage, etc., etc. But in all that I said, it opened up something inside of them and they became fearful. And as the card reading mentioned, that they are afraid, they are blocking me, and also the other young lady had mentioned that they will unblock me soon. And although I feel that her reading was accurate based upon what Kimberly had said as well, in terms of unblocking me and talking to me and coming around, I don't think that's ever going to happen. I know that's never going to happen because it never happens. I don't see it happening in my life. I've never seen it happen in my life. I really rarely see it happen in anyone else's life, in which you have people who get to that point, at least in this lifetime or probably the next 50,000 ones. And as far as I'm concerned, I don't like to have any type of ties with anyone especially at this point, with all the shit that's going on and all the things that need to be done, all the growth that needs to happen inwardly and outwardly, that you have any time to be wasted on people who just, are dealing with this type of thing. No, fuck off. So for me, I feel that if I have any so-called karmic deep ties, twin flame ties, soulmate ties, with anyone of this nature, I cut cords, go away, do not come back tomorrow, do not want to see you in any other lifetime, go away. You can cut cords, you can cut connections, it can happen. Don't believe that bullshit where it says, you can't cut the ties and you can't cut the connection. Oh, yes, you fucking can. Absolutely can. And so I proclaimed and proclaiming again that I cut all ties and I cut all connections with any and everybody who cannot honor their own sacred heart and spirit. Now that I put that out in the universe, and it's so needed, I proclaim myself free. I don't want to have any interactions or connections with these people, past, present, or future. My auric field is strong enough where I don't even attract them. Even if they even come to me, as they always come to me, always ask for suggestions, always want supposedly me in their life. And then they all of a sudden, they just kind of like flip the switch, and then they're like, oh, I got to go the opposite direction. Oh, nah, we're not playing that game anymore. That's over with and done with. So I am not accessible to any of those energies, any of those entities ever again, and never will be. It's just that deep. It's just that deep. So for people who may be in situations where they have a twin flame, or they believe they have a twin flame, and it's painful and it's hurtful, and they're not coming around, you know what? Just fuck it. 2 peas in a bucket, motherfuck it. Push them out and get rid of them. Even if you have to do some deep emotional cutting. Cut it quick, cut it deep, cut it now. It is not worth it. It's going to do more detriment to yourself. It is just not a good thing. And the most important thing is to change your mindset about this whole concept of twin flames and soulmates. It's garbage. It's bullshit. Because the thing about it is, you have to be man and woman enough to own up to how you feel about another person and what you really want. And even if you're not ready, then you need to be in that space where you're able to communicate that. I am not ready. I love you as much as I love the universe. I love you more than the universe. I love you more than God itself. But I am not ready. That I can deal with. That makes much more sense because there's communication. But when you disappear, when you refuse to answer requests to talk, then that's just like simp alert, coward alert, dumbass alert. That's just what I feel. And it's the way that it is, and it's always going to be, especially on this plane, especially at this time. We don't need cowards. We need warriors. We need rebels. We need people who can stand fast and stand strong in their heart chakras and their solar plexus, and have strong minds where they can at least communicate the bare minimum. This is difficult. I'm sorry. I need time. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. So if any of you out there are dealing with this type of nonsense, eliminate it out of your heart, out of your mind, out of your spirit, best way that you can. Cut all ties. Do not even go back. Do not even give it an opportunity to come back in your life. It is a waste of time. It is a waste of energy. It is the downfall of our society, because there is nothing but factories upon factories manufacturing these unavailable, empty, scared little boys and girls. And they need to be eliminated. And yes, I said that. And I mean it from the very depths of my heart. So, I had my experience of being in such physical discomfort. I wouldn't say pain, but it was utter discomfort that I had to eliminate everything connected with said person in order to feel normal again. Because being an empath, I felt the energy coming from them that was basically pinning me as an enemy, making it feel like that I was the bad one, that I was the one generating whatever uncomfortable feelings and issues that they were dealing with. And I didn't do shit. And I've experienced this before several times. I didn't do shit. I didn't do anything warranting that type of behavior. And I don't deserve that. I'm much better than that. And so, yeah. I may do a part 2 to this, only because I'm going to listen to it again and again. And I think I'm missing some very important parts. And I want to make sure that I do get every point that I want to get out and be clear as possible about what I'm saying now. I'm just doing this ad lib, on the spur of the moment. I tried to take some notes, and that was really difficult. So, yeah, there may be a part 2. Anyhow, thank you for joining me. If you have any questions or thoughts on this topic, you can always email me at adventuresofcoyoteprophet@gmail.com. If you're seeing this on YouTube, definitely leave a comment below, thumbs up, subscribe. Until the next time, always remember, it's better to travel.